All right, welcome in. Project Game Day. Ravens do indeed get back in the win column this evening and shake off a rough loss to the Steelers last week by beating the Chargers 30-23 in Los Angeles. Project Game Day is made possible by 1-800-GAMBLER. No cost treatment now available for anyone wanting help with a gambling problem. We'll have a lot to discuss. The crew will start jumping in here in a moment. KZ's already here, so I'll go to him first. I feel like a lot of the conversation about this game is going to be about one particular decision, one particular call, and look, that's fair. That certainly is part of the story, and the decision to go for it 4th and inches from inside your own 20. That is ballsy to say the least. But in all, this was a much more Ravens-like performance, Ken. This was far more solid defensively than we had grown accustomed to for much of the season. This kind of backed up what they did against the Steelers last week, and they got back to looking like the Ravens offensively, scoring on 5 consecutive possessions.
No, they did. I mean, you got to give it to the defense. I mean, the first drive, started off rough, where Chargers just kind of went down the field at will, but they stepped up and they really shut them down the rest of the first half, holding them to a couple of field goals, and they did this without their middle linebacker, without Roshan, and I thought for the most part, I mean, we could pick apart a couple of plays. I thought Harrison played really, really well tonight. I thought in there are moments that you saw Welch in there playing well. I thought the secondary got a couple of late PIs that questionable at best, but they're called. But they played really well, and look, the I don't know, ballsy, gutsy, nuts, whatever, from your own 16 at that point. Um, I was it a desperation move? I don't know. Did he feel the game was getting away at that point, and you had to keep the ball because your defense didn't stop them on the first drive? I don't know. It worked out. They went for it. I think weren't they 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 from
Yep,
on
4th and
fourth
short.
down tonight?
Yep, correct.
And again, most of them were, a yard, a half a yard, things like that. And, the only one that was in question is from your own 16. You make it, you go down the score, it's game on. Lamar does his thing to get into the end zone. Um, who knows? It's a gut feeling at that point. I mean, the analytics can't say go for it, so we can't blame the analytics and things like that. But overall, they ran the ball really, really well. They got back to leaning on the run, I thought, for the most part this game, and making some big plays when they needed to through the passing game. The touchdown pass to Bateman, you can't drop it in there any better with tight coverage. Same thing for the Andrews touchdown. Only place you can throw it is up high with Andrews going up to make a play. Lamar did his thing. Was it one of the best Monday night performances we've ever seen from Lamar? No, but made the plays you had to make. Certainly, the Chargers' drops from the wide receiver position helped out the Ravens immensely tonight. Um, it was one thing, I know when if Andrew gets on here, we talked on our little chat about the penalties. And at one point, he's like, the penalties are still a problem. I said, I didn't think it was that big of a problem tonight. And he said, well, it's 7 for 75 at that point before the two late
Yeah, it ends up being
PIs.
9 for 102 with the two.
Okay, before the
Yeah.
two late PIs, but I don't know. Maybe it was that they didn't set the Ravens backwards as much tonight with the way the
Well, except
penalties
for the
were. Or
early one, the one on Pat Ricard that
the early one, the whip. I don't.
yeah, I
I'll let
disagree with the
I'll let
call, but yeah.
I'll let
Yeah.
Femi talk about the leg whip because I don't know what's he supposed to do with his legs. I mean, he's falling backwards. I don't know where his legs are supposed to go. Um, but I thought the penalties, for the most part, I mean, you didn't see the pre-snap penalties, which are some of the more maddening things that we've had. The illegal shifts and things like that over the last couple of weeks. But very, I don't, is workmanlike the right word about this
I'm
game?
fine with workmanlike.
Very workmanlike. They kind of did their thing, and look, I'm going to say the defense stepped up when they needed to and really shut the Chargers down. An offense that's been really, really good. The J.K. Dobbins, feel terrible for him. Number one.
Yeah.
We all like J.K. Dobbins. I mean, we
Yep.
didn't like him tonight because he's on the other side, but we all root for that guy. These are guys that we've cheered for a long time, and you just feel terrible for him. Hopefully, it was more precautionary that he didn't come back to the game, and it's nothing more serious than that. Um, but him going out of the game really changes what the Chargers have been doing all year on offense.
All right, and with that, we'll bring in our Super Bowl 35 champion, Femi Ayanbadejo. Femi, I started with the defense, right? Like I felt like this performance kind of backed up what happened in Pittsburgh and gives you genuine reason to believe that something is changing on that side of the ball these last couple of weeks. You gotta get Femi unmuted. Femi, you gotta unmute yourself, bud. Sorry. It happens. It happens to the
Yeah,
best of
it's all good.
us.
It's all good. Chill out. We good. We're all calm today. I was gonna figure it out eventually. I would have been 60 seconds into my soliloquy though. Yeah. Um, After that first drive, I was definitely nervous, but damn, Malik Harrison played his ass off tonight.
Yep.
Um, I really thought that the communication was solid. There were no busts. And I think Justin Herbert got away with a couple there. I mean, they probably should have had more sacks. I mean, the Ravens had 4 sacks, I think. Did they end up with 4 sacks? I'm trying to look at the box
I'm
score
double
right
checking
now.
that right now.
Yeah, I was trying to look at it. Maybe Griffin can let me know. I think it was four,
It
but
was four. It was four.
yeah, when I think 4 sacks and 8 for 15 on third down, 3 for 3 and fourth down efficiency. I mean, they just beat them up in the trenches. You know what I mean? Like the Ravens just out physicaled them on both sides of the football, in my opinion. I think Reeta and I were texting back and forth, and Glenn, you were obviously in that same thread. I felt like the middle pass rush didn't get pressure early, but as the game went on, I thought Odafe Owe and um, uh, Kyle Van Noy, I thought they played really, really good games. I thought they got pressure pretty consistently all game long, but I thought this game was one in the trenches. And the slow starts are a little troublesome, but Lamar and Derek are the soul of this team. You got to get them going early, like coming out and the quick screen and all that cute shit. Like, no, we don't need that. I don't care who knows what you're doing. Just you got to get those guys going because I'm gonna be honest. Lamar looked like he was on a different planet that first series. Like,
Yep.
I don't know. He didn't look like he was really like ready to go. And some of those throws were high and outside, and they were a little bit all over the place. But once they started kind of moving the ball, and he felt that energy and that vibe, and there was a little bit of a spark, then I saw Lamar being Lamar. Um, but overall, man, really proud of the defense. The penalties still, they just, I mean, didn't cost him as much, but that leg whip was some BS. Like, that's a terrible call. I mean, these refs, man, they want to be seen so bad on TV. I know they're in LA, but damn, they're in Hollywood. They want to be seen. I don't get it. And I think the next series, um, was it Wiggins? Like literally a 15
That
yard
was the
penalty.
gunner out of bounds. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's just silliness. You know what I mean? Like we can't have that. And so we're probably hypersensitive on the penalties just because every week we talk about it. But overall, I was really happy with just the physicality that the Ravens play with. I mean, they tend to out physical everybody. And I really think that this game tonight, when you look at the box score and you actually watch the game, this game was one in the trenches. And I think that the Chargers had -6 yards rushing in the second half, I believe, or maybe they ended up with 4 because the touchdown at the end. Maybe that was a 2 yard run. So maybe they ended up with -4 yards rushing in the second half after JK went down. So yeah, that's
Yep. Yep. All right.
leg whip. Yep.
Let's go to LA where she's giving us a tour of SoFi Stadium right now in Inglewood. There's our girl Rita
Sorry.
Hubbard.
Sorry. Hey guys. What's
What's
going
going
on?
on, friend?
I am here live in Inglewood, California, where the great contingent, great, great contingent. I know it's easy to make the Chargers games your team home with the wins, but shout out to everybody that makes difference. So, yeah, I heard you guys talking, and Femi and he went to the talk. I felt like after that first drive, I really felt like the war and the really tightened up quickly, and I appreciate that so much. Now, this is something that I'm curious, and maybe Timmy, you could maybe break it down. It felt like with Roquan being out, the defense was thinking, but they were effective. And I don't know if that's just because, obviously you got Malik Harrison who played well, and Gordon played well and played, but it didn't feel like that they were doing too much, for lack of a better term. They had their assignment. They didn't do anything fancy, but it was also effective. That's how I saw it.
Yeah.
Femi?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and Reeta, I don't know if your connection's not, Reeta, can you hear me? Your connection's not really good. It's kind of hard to hear you, by the way. So yeah, just giving you a heads up. But I think I know where you're going with this. I think the defense has been on kind of a simplification. Let's improve communication. And we've been seeing that. And I actually think if they had Roquan out there tonight, man, I think it would have been even more effective. Because Roquan's just a lot more dynamic than Malik Harrison. But I think overall the defense has been doing little things to improve anyway. And we're starting to kind of see the results and the fruit of those decisions. And I think that's what tonight was. The Chargers are not a particularly dynamic offense. You know what I mean? They're pretty simple. Can somebody mute their mic? I'm hearing a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you.
Okay, cool.
I got you.
So, yeah, I think that this improvement has been coming. It's just we really saw it against two good teams, right? We saw it against the Steelers, and we see it tonight against the Chargers. The Chargers are not going to be an easy out for anybody, I don't think, because Justin Herbert's really feeling himself. You saw him on that touchdown. I think Coach Harbaugh has really fed him some positivity and let him know that, like, he's the leader. It's okay to have some swag. It's okay to feel yourself a little bit. And I think that's gone really well for Justin Herbert. I really like what I saw from him. Quentin Johnson didn't help him out. There were some drops, obviously, but that's part of the game, man. You got to catch the ball. So, overall, though, to really answer Rita's question, I feel like simplification, playing two deep safety, being a little bit judicious with the blitzing, kind of keeping it in your back pocket, keeping the game in front of you, the physicality of the front line. It just really bums me out that they scored that last touchdown. 30-16 would have felt so nice because they earned that. They earned to have them only score 16 points and to have it kind of end that way. Just, you know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about the ending of the game.
I agree. Can y'all hear me? Are y'all able to hear me?
Better.
Okay.
Better.
I moved away because there was people around. On the flip side, right, offensively, I was curious to see how this was going to go because obviously you got Khalil Mack back, even though he is still dealing with like a injury. Now I feel like that their defensive front is really good, but I've always felt like the narrative of they haven't played anybody was maybe more true than what people would have let on. And then the Bengals, particularly obviously in the second half of last week's game, kind of made me feel that way, that they just haven't been challenged by a really good offense. So I was curious to know how the Ravens would respond. It was no doubt in my mind that the Ravens would win because typically after losses, they respond with wins in the Lamar Jackson era. That's just kind of how this goes. But I was curious to know how this offense was going to look, particularly against that defensive front and those defensive ends who, and outside linebackers who are extremely good. So that was kind of how I was watching this. And we talked about this in the chat, and I was just kind of like, I feel like what the Chargers were going, it feels like people think that Denver has had a blueprint, but then Denver escaped it once Derrick Henry started running the ball. So I was hoping that they got Derrick Henry involved so they can make them honest. And it feels like that's what they did, and it flowed in the game and made the game better. So I was impressed by today them saying, okay, we're not going to abandon Derrick Henry. We're going to keep Derrick Henry around. And obviously, anytime you give them 20 plus carries, it's going to equal a win. So I'm just glad that they stuck with it.
And to the point, particularly after they got down by 2 scores, because as we all have discussed, they have a little bit of a history of when they get down by 2 scores, suddenly getting away from running the football. And they did the exact opposite of that tonight. They got down by 2 scores and purposefully were feeding Derrick Henry the next time they saw the ball and purposefully said, we're going to start by running the ball on this drive. And so I completely agree. And we talked about that, Reeta. That was a huge story for me tonight. Let's bring in our buddy. He's up in Toronto doing some work. Our friend Josh Charles. What's going on, pal? How are you?
Good. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Joining a
Man, it's
little
good to
late.
see you. Glad they're letting you in. I thought that maybe Canada had banned Zoom or something. I
You
don't know
know
what's
what it
going on.
was the hotel Wi-Fi must have been the issue because once I jumped off Wi-Fi, it went right on. So it must have been some sort of block from the firewall or something. I don't know.
It was your reaction.
Well, I mean, I texted you some. I had a lot of reactions, but I mean, one thing is, I was just watching right after the game. Instead of going to Scott Van Pelt here, they go to the Canadian, whatever their sports center is, and the guy was saying. It was interesting to hear his point of view. He's like, I just don't know about this team in the playoffs. Like, I'm worried that if they get, let's say the season ended today, they play Houston, maybe they take that one, but on the road against some of these teams, if particularly like a Chiefs, if the running game's not there, it was just interesting to hear his point of view. He was saying, they can. The offense looks unstoppable, but if it's not there and you're playing a team that can stop the run, he's just worried about it. But I just thought
Hey,
that was
Josh, that dude doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Has he been watching the
Well, that's why
Ravens
he's
play
Canadian.
offense?
That's why I'm saying.
Has he been
I was
watching
watching.
Did you see the stat? The Ravens are the most prolific offense since the greatest show on turf. Passing,
Yeah, I mean,
throwing, red zone. Like
Well,
these
I thought
Canadian
the
people,
2021. I know.
what the fuck are they
It's
talking
pretty,
about, bro?
But
the
I'm saying
seven.
that's really fascinating to think like that's what he walked away from the game watching. And
Wow,
I didn't.
he's watching the wrong football.
Yeah, exactly. What I took away was I can't watch the penalties anymore, right? The holding penalties, the things, killing drives. I don't know. I'm Glenn. You know what I was going through in that first half. It's very, very frustrating. But I think I mean they showed a lot of resilience, man. And I've got to say, like that pass to Bateman. I mean, what a redemptive play for Rashad. I mean, just an incredible catch. That's not an easy catch. I mean, that guy was playing good coverage and he just stuck that ball in. Lamar made the plays he needed to. Derek was just the machine that he is when he starts just steamrolling people. But the penalties, I think, are going to doom us if we don't figure that out, man. That's going to kill us because that is just a drive killer, and we were able to overcome it tonight. But obviously, we didn't last week, and you could see us down the road with some other tight games. It may not work out for us. We've got to clean that up, and sometimes it just felt unnecessary. My other big reaction to the game, and I know this is going to sound because we won, who cares? But I thought the referees were absolutely horrendous. I thought it was really good that they got together a few times, and I'll applaud them for that. That they worked on a couple plays, like Mark's touchdown that was clearly a touchdown. The guy called the other, one on Stevens that they said was uncatchable. I was glad that they did that, but they were a really happy throw and flag group, man. And that last one on Humphrey towards the end was absolutely terrible. I mean, that was terrible. I mean, he barely touched him. So I just that was frustrating watching the game enough. Listening to Troy was annoying to me. Sometimes he bothers me. I love him, but he gets on my nerves sometimes. And he was frustrating me because I felt like I don't know. Those are the things that got me. Just clean up the penalties. Can't watch it anymore. We can't have those kind of slow starts. And I'll say this: John going for it on fourth down. I mean, I know he'll get if you don't get any of those, he gets killed for him. You got to give him his props when we went for it. He felt something. He felt the pulse. And I even thought that this seems like the right time to do it. As crazy as it is, analytically, statistically, it's a feel. And sometimes it's a feel. It's not all just about the numbers. And I thought that was a good call. This wasn't going to be a game that was going to be just a super tight. We were going to have to score some points, and we did.
I want to talk more about it. I got to say, hey, experience the thrill of live betting with the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton. Green Turtle Sportsbooks, the ultimate destination for game day excitement and in-person betting. Yes, Ken.
The one thing, the funny thing, what Josh was saying, that this was a flag-happy crew. This crew is called the least amount of penalties of any crew coming into this game. So just Monday night, though. Last week they had the crew, I believe, or it was 2 weeks ago, that called the most.
Yeah.
So this week it was the least. So you're saying that they were flag happy, and I'm just laughing to myself. It's like this is the one crew that throws the least amount of flags.
I think they even said that on the TV tonight. I think they even said that. You're right. That's crazy though. And listen, again, give them props for they got a couple right. I don't know what that one ref was watching on the Andrews touch. I guess he thought he bobbled it, but they met, they talked it. Same thing with the Stevens one. But when you watch the Stevens one, this is where Troy got on my nerves. When they show the replays, okay, you had him here, but they were both touching each other. There was nothing egregious there. That was not pass interference.
The leg whip, Josh, the leg whip call was terrible.
That was weak. That's another one.
There's no contact.
Yeah, they were in LA. The refs want to be seen. The other thing is that
they said there was contact when they replayed it. They said there was a little bit of contact.
It's about intention though. He wasn't intending. You know what I mean? It's football. People are going to touch each other. That's the whole point of contact. You know what I mean? It's just dumb. The only thing I'll say is this. I agreed with every aggressive call he went for except for the 2-point conversion. Put the onus on them to go for 2. Why are you preemptively going for 2? You don't need to do that. To go up by 9 at that point, it's just not necessary.
That's interesting.
I understand Reeta.
What is the thinking there, Femi? What is he thinking then? What is
the thinking there is that you go up by 9. Okay, this is the thing. So just hear me out, because unless you really play football, this is kind of not going to be intuitive. So you know that they're going to want to tie the game. So whether you go up by 7 or go up by 8, they're going to try to tie the game. They're not going to try. Technically, they're probably not going to try to win the game. They're going to try to tie the game, right? So you preemptively make a preemptive move to go up by 9 so that if they go for 2, they're still down by 1. But it was way too early for all that. That was the reason. You kind of hear that thought process?
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, so my friend who was at the game, he's a big football fan. He texted me the same thing. He's like, why did they go for 2 there? And that one I didn't have an answer for.
I understood why he did it. It's just you don't need to do that at that time, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Hey, look, Coach Harbaugh, I hear you. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. We all know that. I'm making my critique because I think that he was in aggressive mode. And sometimes when you're in aggressive mode, you got to know, you know what? Let me go ahead and fold this hand and let me just kick the field goal or kick the extra point. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And I understood why he did it, because he knew that either way they were going to tie the game probably. But Glenn made a good point in the text that if that ends up being late, then they go for 2 and they win the game potentially if that, that kind of 1-point thing sticks around, hangs around longer.
Like what the Bengals tried to do a couple weeks ago.
Exactly. Yeah, that you end up in that, but because it was so early, I could see why that wasn't necessarily a possibility. But the thought that I have is, why do we go for 2? Make them go for 2. We're going to be up by 8.
I think that's fair.
They may not even score a touchdown. You know what I mean? Yeah. Who's to say they're going to? They didn't score a touchdown until the end of the game in garbage time when it didn't matter. But my point is that all the aggression is all well and good, but I think that at some point you've got to be like, let me dial it back for a second. We're gonna play aggressive and we're gonna make sure it's on us. I totally get it. It's within Coach Harbaugh's decision-making sphere to do that kind of stuff. And we all love it when it works, right? And they won the game. But I just feel like strategically at that point, that was just a little bit too aggressive. So Josh, just
can I ask you a question, Femi? Can I ask Femi a quick question as a former player and just someone who's such a student of the game? I mean, for everybody, but really for Femi, because you played, it's the penalties, the coaches are going to take the heat for it, right? At the end of the day, it's going to fall on Harbaugh. Oh, they're non-disciplined, this, that. Yeah. But why is that not getting cleaned up? Because I understand that there's holding, they say, on every play in the NFL, and they don't always call it. but it seems like we're holding on plays where we didn't really need to be holding. And so and some of them were good calls. I mean, Rosengarten, I mean, there were holds. I get it.
Did you guys see Chris Broussard's soliloquy this last week?
I did.
I saw it too. He made some damn good points.
Yep.
Yeah, he says that like he really likes the Ravens, but they look like an undisciplined team to him. Like he's not saying, he's not counting them out, but he's just saying like they are their own worst enemy. And he actually puts it on Coach Harbaugh. He actually does. I think that was my summation of what he was trying to say. And that lack of discipline is gonna be a problem. The same thing, Josh, that you literally came on and just said. I think everyone has that concern. And to answer your question, penalties happen. It's almost like you're in the flow of the game. It's never intentional, right? Like think about how fast things are moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one's trying to hold. No one's trying to grab.
Sure.
I just feel like there's a lack of patience to just trust your technique and play the technique and let the cards fall where they fall. Like you don't need to grab. You don't need to tackle somebody. You don't need to do any of that stuff. The thing that I'll say is this. The penalties that I can't stand, the ones that make me want to like just punch a wall, are when DBs or linebackers or defensive players, they get so close to the quarterback or they get close to hitting a guy on the sideline and they don't want to pull up because they went to all that effort. They've got to get that hit in. Those are the most selfish penalties. I don't really see those. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of a little bit of the silver lining. I do see guys trying to be a little bit more conscious about the kind of the overly aggressive penalties, right? Now you're right. The drive starters, the drive killers on offense, and the drive preservers. Think about how many penalties have preserved a drive for the opponent this year that ended up costing the Ravens a game. The Raiders, Chiefs, the Browns. Actually, the missed field goal. I mean, we can kind of go down the list of things. I thought Justin Tucker looked like he got his head right today, in my opinion. Like there's something about the way he was kicking tonight that I was like, okay. And the way the ball was going through the goalpost, it wasn't going to the left and hooking. It looks like he may have found something. But Josh, I don't have a great.
But Femi, do they like? I'm just curious, like in terms of like, do they break down like when they're looking at the film, right?
Yeah.
Are they going to say like, is the offensive line coach going to look at the film and look at those plays and go, hey, listen, Roger, in this play, we know it's a 3-step drop and he's going to right. You don't need to do that there, right? Are they looking at it?
They're going to do exactly what you just said. Yeah, it's an impulse. It's almost like it's like, oh shit, like you know what I mean? Like you don't want to do it, but you like you're thinking like I'm beat. He's going to hit my quarterback. Like
exactly. No, I get it. Right? You know what I mean? I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. It's very easy for us to sit here and say, oh, you can't do that. It's instinctive. You don't want to get beat. You don't want to get Lamar hurt. You're thinking about all these things in the moment. But I'm just wondering how they break it down and do they? Yeah,
they break it down exactly the way that you said. The last thing I'll say about the penalties is this. There's not ever going to be a game where there's no penalties, but 7, 8, 9, 10, like you're the most penalized team in the NFL. Like, can we get you to the middle of the pack? Can you be like 15 or 14?
Right.
Like, we don't need you to, we don't,
just don't be the worst.
Yeah. We don't need perfection. Yeah. Just don't be the worst. Like be somewhere between 10 and 20. You know what I mean? Like that's not asking for too much. You are basically the most undisciplined team in the NFL when you lead the NFL in penalties. Like that's what that is what that says. It doesn't mean you're not the most talented. It doesn't mean you can't win a Super Bowl. It doesn't mean you don't have good players. I mean, we saw the numbers with the offense. This is one of the most prolific offenses in NFL history. But I think Josh makes a point, and we'll probably all agree on this. I get so freaking irritated by the penalties. I don't even enjoy some of the plays because I'm always worried. Like I'm like, is there a hold? Did something happen? Like I'm like I have PTSD on penalties now. Like
no, this is exactly.
I'm not exaggerating.
Glenn, I was losing my effing mind, dude.
Yep.
I can't enjoy the goddamn game because I'm just worried that like every time we do something good, there's something like that happens. But I will say this: that's 2 games in a row we haven't allowed a touchdown. We have 4 sacks tonight. The defense got some pressure. I mean,
they got 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they did give up touchdowns.
I'm sorry. They got touchdowns. I'm sorry. They didn't. I'm sorry. I was looking at the last game.
They really gave up 1 touchdown though.
Yeah,
really
because the one at the end.
The one to
well,
Herbert.
no, the one on the first drive. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Yeah, the
right.
one
I'm
to
just, we're-
Herbert.
I
Yeah,
think
the
they
I get what
run.
you're
discussed
saying,
the
though,
one at the
Josh.
end, Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, I think they played well, though. I mean, they got pressure. It's good.
Yep. Hey, make your trip to the game easy by saving the easy passway for tolls. Go to driveeasymd.com. That's driveeasymd.com. I want to go back to the initial decision, 4th and 1 from 16, to go for it because of the point. The others, once you've done that, that's who you are. And I think it was easy for them to go for it the next 2 times. I think once you've made that first decision, you
Yep.
almost have to do that the next
Absolutely.
2 times. But the first time, and Reeta, I'm going to start with you because you were there. They do the bit before the 2-minute warning. Total good idea. Quickly get Lamar up to the line. See if you can't get them to jump. Why not? Right? It's free. You've got the 2-minute warning. It's going to bail you out. You don't have to do anything in that moment. But during the 2-minute warning, Reeta, did you have thought that they were going to go for it? Did you when they line back up? What's going through your mind in that moment?
So so it's the 2-minute warning. So I'm like, oh, okay. They just tried to get them to jump off side, you know. And so it's funny because I don't know. I think I was heading towards the bathroom and I hear them say, Chargers, get up. And I was like, and like, make some noise. And I'm like, what?
For a
Make
punt?
some
Right.
noise for what? For a punt? I was like, why for a punt? And then I turn around and they go for it on 4th down. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I was just like, oh, well, maybe they're doing this whole thing again where they're just trying to get them to jump off side. And I don't know what that noise is, but they keep doing it and it irritates me. But I was just like, what the hell is going on? And so I felt like that kid that went viral for the Ravens, where he's like,
Yeah.
I was like, no. Oh, okay, well, I guess I can't play, right? But I absolutely didn't think that they were like actually going for kids, particularly where they were at that moment. And I was just like, yeah, they're not going to do that, are they? Well, they did. But luckily for them, it worked out in their favor. So,
All right. Josh, I'll go to you next. Your reaction when they lined up.
I mean, straight nads, bro. I mean, I mean, John's talking about it right now. They got him on the Canadian TV again, and he's talking about it. But it's like he just said he felt like he could get it. Felt like Mark was going to get it with Tyler, and I felt like in the moment in that game, it felt like we were driving, yet we just almost couldn't get that first down, and it felt like if we got through that, we were going to score, and we did. So I mean, I don't know. I was for it. Obviously, it was one of those things when it doesn't go, everybody's going to call for his head. He should be fired. But I agree with you. Once that one was done, the others were like no-brainers. Of course, that's what we're doing. And I don't know. I like the aggression. I think we felt like we had an advantage with them, at the line, and I think we were successful. So I'm good with it.
Femi, KZ and I
Obviously, it's
talked
easier
about.
to say now, right?
Yeah, it worked, right? Yeah, KZ and I talked about it a little bit earlier on, right? Like, but I feel like I don't want to gloss over it because it has that feel of, could it be the type of call, the type of guts that we could look back on as a turning point within the season? That in that moment, trailing 10-7, to have the guts to say, we're going to do this. Is it the type of thing that can fuel you moving forward? And you can look back on, say, the way that we all think back to, hell yeah, coach, let's go for it in Seattle in 2019 with Lamar Jackson, as that being a galvanizing moment for this team, for this franchise.
Great point, Glenn. That's a great point. I agree, man. I think Hubbard has great instincts about that. I think he probably was feeling that in that moment. They got to go for it. Like, this just felt like the vibe in the moment. I don't know that he was thinking of it for the whole season, but I think you're right. I think it certainly could have that effect. Let's see how they respond, against coming up Sunday against the Eagles and moving forward. But it certainly feels like it, because after that they started rolling offensively. So,
Were you at? Wait, did you?
I'm gonna keep it real. I thought it was idiotic. I thought it smelled of desperation.
Nah, you're out of your fucking
Okay,
mind,
I'm just telling you.
You're out of your
you're
mind,
asking me
dude.
how
No.
you're asking me how I felt in the moment.
Wow, dude. I'm
In
so
the
shocked that
moment,
I'm so shocked that you're saying that right now.
No, because I'm glad. See, here's
We're
the thing.
we're
We're
gonna
all
end up. It's
glad it
Thanksgiving
worked.
week. We're family. Remember,
Nah, hey,
We're
We're
all glad
family.
it
We're family.
worked.
I
We're all glad
I
it worked. You're
expect
on
them to
your
do
own.
that, and I expect them to
You,
get it.
uh,
Yeah.
I,
I expect them to
I,
score 30 points. I expect them not to worry about a damn thing. If they didn't get it, you let them score. You get the ball back. You're gonna go score. It doesn't matter. Like you snatch their heart. You go get it. You go take it. You don't play passive football. That's not what you do. That's not how you win football games. No,
Femi,
this isn't.
you're on your own 15.
You're on your 60. You're on the 16, and it was less than a
I,
yard.
I,
And you
Less
were
I
than a
and you
yard.
understand
dominated
that,
them.
but
And listen,
I'm
KZ,
glad
the first thing
again.
that
I'm
KZ,
glad
the
it
first thing
worked,
that
and
I
it was the
said was
catalyst to
that this
everything else
team,
that went on.
this team dominated the trenches on both sides of the football. They knew they had that advantage. And at that time in the game, that early, I had no problem with it at all. And you didn't even ask me yet, Glenn, but I actually thought it was the right call. I was shocked they didn't just go for it the first time because that's a John Harbaugh thing to do.
So Ken, you and I were talking. We were in a text group today. We had a bunch of different. I had like text groups going with everybody tonight.
We should get all these
Yeah,
text
yeah,
groups
put everybody
together.
together on one, so we're not doing 5 different text groups.
I
Maybe
know
like
we
a
really
Slack,
should. We
a
really
Slack,
should.
maybe a Slack channel or something like that in order to get everybody together. Ken, I know what you're feeling, as I have said before. There are times where I think John makes emotional decisions where he's frustrated that they didn't get it on third down, and that's the reason why he goes for it. But the point that Femi just made was the one that I brought up in our text thread, which is, based on where they were clockwise,
Yeah.
I actually wasn't particularly okay with that
Yeah.
decision, because what you're really saying is, if we punt it, we're not seeing the ball at all. They might still score. They could go down, score 7 points, and we don't see the ball at all the rest of the half. If we go
But
for it,
but
and
you were getting the ball to start the second half.
I get it,
That,
but
that
they
has
might,
that has nothing to do with it.
if you give them right there in that moment, if you don't get it, whatever they're doing, it's happening quickly. You're getting a minute back with the ball. Whatever they do, whether they kick a field goal, whether they score a touchdown, you're getting another minute with the ball to go down and do your own thing with an offense that you believe is capable. And I'm completely, given that thought process, I'm totally good with it. I don't know that I would feel the same way. Like, we'd have to talk about it. Were there 24 seconds left on the clock? I'd probably feel differently, right? Because
Yeah.
you're not getting points out of that. That's reckless for you to do that in that spot. All you're doing is gifting them points. But with 2 minutes left in the half, you're going to get a result one way or the other pretty quickly, and you're going to get the ball back. And again, to the point, it's fourth and an inch. It's the thing I constantly say. Every team has to be able to run one of these tush push.
Let me ask you a question. This isn't 2000 or 1995 where when it's 3.5 yards, everyone just punts. That's not what the analytics say. That's not how Dan Campbell coaches. That's not how Andy Reid coaches. That's not how Nick Sirianni coaches. Nobody does that anymore. You know why they don't do it anymore? Because you're capitulating and you lose games that way. Because when you have a chance to get a first down and it's less than a half a yard, you go get that bitch. And if you can't get it, then you don't deserve to win the game. Period. End of story. You're playing soft. You're playing soft. You're capitulating. You're basically saying, we're not good enough to get a half a yard. Our big ass line against those guys, we can't get a yard. And what they do, they kick their ass the whole game in the trenches on both sides of the ball. You have to go for that, in my opinion. Had he punted it, would I have been upset? No, but I've been like, man, I'm surprised he didn't go for that. That looks gettable to me. And based on where the game was, the time of the game, how much time was left in the game, I thought that was a statement. Now, that was definitely not Seattle 2019, because in Seattle 2019, we didn't know who these Ravens could be. You know what I mean? We didn't know what Lamar was going to be. He hadn't won an MVP yet.
Right.
They hadn't been a number one seed with Lamar and Coach Harbaugh. They were making their march to the mountaintop. Like they were an unknown. We know who the Ravens are now. And based on who they are and how they play, I expect them to do that, and I expect them to go for it, because every other team that they're going to meet that matters is going to do the exact same thing.
I'm with it. What is the line though, right? Like, is it beyond a yard? Is it
I think the line is against, if you really have, like, this is the thing. In Pittsburgh, in that same situation, do you do that? Probably not. Probably not.
possessions
Pittsburgh's
too
offense is
valuable?
very challenged. Like, you got to
Yeah.
really think about the team that you're playing and the circumstances and how well they know you. We play the Chargers pretty damn good. They're a little soft for my taste. Just saying. I mean, no disrespect. But against Pittsburgh, when you really respect the team and you know it's going to be one of those low scoring games, and you probably don't do that with Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh knows you. You know what I mean? But against that team in that situation with that amount of time left under those circumstances, it's not a one size fits all decision. But I think there's a lot of teams that you do that against. I like the call. I thought it was the right call.
I was good with it in the moment. I was good with it no matter what the result was. I'm good with being
Me
that
too.
team. I'm
I
good
was.
with being
We're
the
talking
team.
about like a potentially historic offense. You know, if we keep it over 7 yards, right? I mean,
Yep.
it's like, and you're gonna tell that team like you can't go get a half yard. I don't care where it is on the field. I mean,
But
I think it sends the right message.
But you can say it the other way as well. And this is my only point, is that so you punt the ball away, maybe they score, maybe they don't. You have this great offense that's come back many times during the season
Mhm.
that you trust it, and they've been really good in the second half of games, that you trust to score 30 plus points, whether you scored before the half there or not. I still think I have the confidence in this offense that they're going to score 30 plus points. I'm just saying, for me, at that moment, it was a little too deep in my own end. If you're at the 30, sure. I'm just thinking inside the 20 for my taste in that situation in the first half of a game where the defense had settled in a little bit.
But had we even
I
stopped
didn't
them
love
yet,
it.
Ken?
I
Had the
understand
defense
what
stopped
Femi's
them yet?
saying. I understand what Femi's saying.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'm
I hear what
just
you're saying.
I just don't. To me, it was too close.
It,
It
you
was too
you
close. It's
you
like
said it was idiotic, KZ. You said it was idiotic, is what you said.
I said, you asked what my feelings
Re,
were.
re,
In the
go
moment, he
rewind. Go
said it. In
rewind
the
that.
moment, he thought it was.
You
In the
said
I
it was
moment, he
did.
said
idiotic.
that.
I said it was idiotic. My
Yeah,
feeling,
yeah.
what my
That's an
feelings
aggressive
were
statement to make,
at that
man. That's a very
moment were
aggressive statement to
idiotic,
make.
and it smelt of desperation to
No,
me.
but
But
that's why
don't you
my
feel at
reaction
that
was.
point?
That's why I was so aggressive with my reaction, because I'm like, are we talking about the same coach, same team? Do we know? No, that's not idiotic or aggressive. That's in character. That's expected, and it's expected to be gotten too.
I
If you
think that
also, but
Again,
also at
I
that
just
point in the
I
game,
think when you're 16, it's not expected.
but can someone? I mean, obviously Troy Aikman, she seemed to continually keep bringing it up that he was miffed by it. But I mean, he was,
Well, no,
giving him
I don't think Troy said he was miffed. I
No, he
think
never
Troy.
said miff, but I'm saying the way that he kept bringing it up
Well,
definitely.
he
He
mentioned
didn't.
he mentioned the analytics. I think he said the analytics were 50-50. Like you could make like base. I think he actually said the analytics say you could go for it. Like I think it was a 50-50 call. But I think when you let's just zoom out for a minute, right? We're talking about Coach John Harbaugh. We're talking about the most prolific, probably run offense in NFL history since in the Lamar era. All the decisions he's made over time, the circumstances of that game, there was a lot of time left. So KZ, I can make the other argument. You have a really good offense. If they don't get it and the Chargers score, you believe in your offense is still going to score 30. I mean, you can play it either way. Like we can both say the exact same thing for opposite reasons.
And I think to me, Femi, that's why like the one word that stands like idiotic, I disagree with too, KZ, but
And it smells like desperation. That's what
that's
he
the
said.
word.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
the
agree
word
with
I
that at
particularly
all.
because it almost feels
It's
like
the
the exact
opposite of that.
yeah, that's
It's the
exactly what I
opposite.
felt.
Yeah, it's
It
the
felt
opposite
like
of desperation.
no, we're going to be the aggressive.
Yeah.
We're dictating things. We're
Yeah.
not desperate. We're going to be in control. This game will be determined by
what
us.
that I think, Glenn, what you were getting at by bringing up Seattle in Seattle. You want to go for it, Lamar? Let's go for it, right? Like that whole thing. I know what you were bringing up, but in 2019, like 4th and 2, I think it was in Seattle when they made that call.
Sounds right.
I
can
think it
try to
was
go
fourth
back
and
look.
two,
Yep.
and they ended up running, I think, like Lamar like on a zone read maybe, or maybe it's QB power or something. But I think that's who the Ravens have become, though, because of that play in 2019. That's who they are. Like plays like that in those circumstances, because people could have been like, you should have just taken the 3, Coach Harbaugh. But no, they went and got 7. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
I
so
also want to point out, I don't think at that point in the game, still at the end of the second quarter, that the defense has settled down to the way that they did more in the second half. I mean, so I think like he's also thinking they're scoring a lot. You know, that like we gotta keep this game's not gonna be like a 13-10 game or whatever. Like we're gonna have to score some points. So I think that factored into it as well.
Yeah, I do think it factors into it. By the way, went back. It was 4th and 2. Femi, good call on that. 4th and 2 ended up being an 8-yard touchdown.
I was at that game, by the way. I was at that game
in Seattle.
It's a game that'll forever live in
KZ, nothing but love, bro. I know. I said you're fucking.
Oh
crazy,
wait,
but
hey,
you're not crazy.
upset at all.
You're not. No, I know you're not. You're not crazy,
It's
but
okay,
you
don't
are.
care.
No. I'm just saying, like, I know.
I love me some
KZ's just
KZ.
using his 1995 coaching like book. You know what I mean? Not the 2025 coaching book. You know
So
what I mean?
I have the elder statesman here, so
that is true. That is true. He plays the old man role for us here on Project Game Day.
I just know because Glenn. I know people start worrying like if we're
I know.
we
had things got a little feisty last week, and we got a lot of feedback about it. We're all good. It's okay. We all know
what did
better.
I miss? Damn.
well, I missed the
Gosh.
feedback. What happened?
That's what the Ravens do when we lose.
There's
man,
Trippy.
you know?
Trippy. I didn't know if you were there. What's going on, buddy? How
Hey,
are you?
hey, y'all wouldn't believe it, man. I woke up. It was about 6:25 left in the game, man. I ain't gonna lie. I hate these primetime games. Something gotta give, man.
You woke up with 6 minutes left. Trippy?
Yes, I did.
Damn.
Trippy.
You better go ahead and watch the game, homie.
Hey, I mean, I'm gonna go back to watch it. I mean, I'm glad we just got the victory. That's all that matters, you know.
Man, he missed all the
I
stretch.
love that Trippy came on.
I know
to
he's
the-
still
to the
doing, and he's gonna
postgame
do
and didn't watch the
Twitter
game.
Spaces. He's gonna go do all of it after.
No, I ain't. No, hey Glenn, I've been chilling out them Raven spaces, man. They give you a headache, man. They make you go crazy, man.
Well,
You just gotta, you know.
you were on for last week. You know we give each other headaches here sometimes too.
Yeah.
That does happen around these
But
parts.
I mean, from what I'm looking at, though, I'm looking at notifications. I guess Malik Harrison played a good game. That's good.
He played his ass off. Let's talk about. I'm so glad you brought that up, Trippy, because I was going to go to the comments next, real quick. Remember, you can experience the thrill of live betting with the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton. Green Turtle Sportsbooks, the ultimate destination for game day excitement and in-person betting. Ryan asks, after this game from Malik Harrison, what does the linebacker group look like when Roquan Smith returns? Is there
the
any?
same? The exact
Okay.
Roquan takes his job back and
No,
goes
I
and
don't think
does.
he's asking that. I think he's asking about Trenton Simpson is what he's asking
No,
about.
Let's not get carried away. Let's not
Yeah,
get
see, and you know what? I'm glad you said that, bro, because it's like one thing I realized about Raven fans, like we sit here and shit on the guy all week. I mean, I'm not gonna say I was shitting on him, but I mean, I was kind of worried. But for him to step up, you know, why people was doubting him. Now, here come the story all week. Well, what we gonna do with Trent Simpson? Like, just let it roll how it's rolling right now. I mean, that's good in case, you know, say if another injury come down, at least we know what Malik can do now. But it's
Chris
like,
and Trippy, Chris Board played really well too.
Yes,
man.
he did.
yeah, Chris, I love Chris
particularly on Femi
Yeah.
to the point on passing downs.
Yeah.
Chris Ford was really good.
The scouting report on Malik Harrison is you want him coming downhill. You don't want him covering anybody laterally. You don't want him dropping back in coverage. You want Malik coming downhill. And guess what? When he came downhill today, Malik brought that hat. Like I saw him drop a bunch of people. But the minute he gets out in coverage in space and starts playing zone, you know, it's just not his forte. That's just not what that's just not his thing. But when you put him at middle linebacker or Mike backer, and he's able to kind of see what's coming, and he's able to get a read and hit a gap and come down on a running back or an offensive lineman, he's really effective at that. And he did a lot of that tonight. How many tackles did he end up with? 14?
I'll go tell you in 2 seconds. I'm going to run 2 more comments by you real quick. Malik Harrison finished with 13. 13 was the number for Malik Harrison tonight. Still, yeah, he was great. I mean, he was great. There's no question about it. He was awesome. From Jacob. Jacob wants to know what we make of the fact that Keaton Mitchell was activated and hasn't worked his way into the offense yet.
Justice Hill, you saw that man.
You see Justice Hill run tonight?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's Reeta wants to take a lap because she's always been Team Justice Hill.
Well,
Reeta,
I know
Reeta's
Femi
frozen.
and I love Keaton Mitchell, and I'd love to see more of him. But what you can't take away from what Justice Hill has done this year.
Yep, I mean,
absolutely.
He's been tremendous.
I mean, not even that. Like us as fans, like what more do we want? Like us knowing the JK situation and the Gus situation, and we still got, Justice Hill, while a lot of fans was giving up on him. A lot of fans didn't even think he was worth being in the rotation. You know what I mean? and he's showing up. Derrick Henry showing up. So I'm pretty sure the Ravens is probably just repping Keaton up for the later run. I mean, it don't make sense for us to rush him right now. Like he playing kick return. That's a good little start to get him wrapped up, and then when December come, when it's time to really run that ball, we never know what we might get. Plus, he's saying that.
Hey, Trippy. Huh? Keaton's gonna need another year. He's really gonna need like another
off
season.
I
you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Just because of the nature of the injury, you mean?
Yeah, the nature of the injury. I guarantee you that what made Keaton special was that top end speed, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't have that. And so, like, let him practice, let him return kicks if he gets a chance. Maybe they have a little Keaton package at some point where they have 3, 4, or 5 plays where he gets 2 or 3 of them, and then he's a decoy on 2. Maybe they figure that out. But like, man, there's so many mouths to feed on offense right now. Like, Isaiah Likely today didn't even like catch a pass. You know what I mean?
Oh, whoa, hold up. Isaiah Likely ain't have a pass again.
Yeah, that matters. I'm just guessing. Trippy, did you have him on a parlay?
I mean, it doesn't.
No, I just thought maybe he'd have a big game because he ain't been doing nothing.
Mark Andrews,
like I said,
Mark Andrews,
like Femi said, is a lot of mouths to feed on the offense.
And you see, they're trying to do things to get the ball towards Deontay Johnson to get him involved in some sort of way.
Well, he keep tripping.
Yep, there's been a lot.
But that ball wasn't even that ball wasn't even catchable though.
It was 10 yards over him, but he keeps falling down.
It wasn't catchable, but golly, I want him to stand up and not trip over his feet.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a rough start for him as a Raven. I don't know.
But again, to the point, like I think that's why Deontay Johnson wasn't here to solve a problem.
He's depth. He's adding depth.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
I guarantee you, if something happened to number 4, and number 4 is nice. I love me some Zay Flowers. And he's been killing it on my fantasy team too, by the way. Killing it. But my point though is that Deontay can do a lot of Zay stuff. Zay's just, a little bit better.
Right.
I'm also just so impressed with the maturity of Zay, just bailing Lamar out when he's
the play on the right sideline.
On the sideline.
Yeah, when he's been doing that a lot, and that's just showing a lot of maturity. He's knowing to just go to that sideline, and he's been such a great relief.
Yeah, it's a sideline drill. Moments. It's a drill, and then they run it together perfectly. You know what I mean?
So good. I mean, I think, are we going to talk, or did you guys talk before I came on with my technical difficulties about just the sort of middle of the field on the defense? It seems like sometimes everything seems too easy sometimes in the catches. Because I'm looking at some of these highlights while we're talking. It's like, I mean, Hubbard hits a couple of those passes, or Quentin Johnson catches it. I don't know. It's like,
I mean, you got to pick your poison. These are NFL offenses, right? Like you can give up the boundary, you can give up the middle of the field, and if you don't get pressure, that's what's going to happen. And let me say this real quick, Josh, to answer your point, to speak directly to your point. There was a ball that Justin Herbert threw that led to the field goal at the end of the second half. 2 different guys touched that ball. He put so much mustard on that thing, and the receiver, was it Josh Palmer? I don't even know who caught it, but I was like, man, I just tipped my cap. I was like, because I love what the Ravens did. They didn't even rush. They all just jumped back and they all put their hands.
I saw that. Yeah.
They hit 2 guys' hands. Like, it was brilliant. And I was just like, man, like, you can't do anything about that. And the thing is that a lot of times there's a lot of what they call 2 deep rules for receivers and tight ends that are running down the middle of the field. There's always a bender and someone that goes straight. And usually that bender, if you give the quarterback time, that bender is going to be open right in between the safeties, right behind the linebacker. That's like a spot that is well known in any defense at all levels that's vulnerable. And when you have a really good quarterback that knows how to drop that ball in, and you give him time. And I think early, and there were times, Josh, to make your point, that's that vulnerability. And I think I was texting Glenn and Reeta during this time. At the beginning of the game, the pass rush in the middle was soft as hell. Like, it really was. Like the first 2 series, and then they found their way, and then the defense really started going, and they really started dominating the trenches as the game went on. But that was what I noticed. Just to answer your point.
No, it's cool. I think, listen, there's a lot of positives to feel about the defense performance last week and this week. So I think there's something to build on. It's you just want to see that defense, like you were saying. Like, we don't want to be the last in the league in penalties. It's like, we don't need to be the best defense. Let's just get us more in the middle of the pack. Pass, move it up a little bit, because with the offense as strong as it is, that will make a huge difference.
I think the defense is finding its way, and Glenn, and I think I said this with everybody on here. I believed in my heart of hearts that when it was all said and done, they would be a top 10 scoring defense. That's probably not going to happen now, but what I've seen the last couple of weeks gives me a lot of hope. You know what I mean?
Well, and
Mhm.
so it's Femi. I'll bring this up because it comes up in the comments. Brian says, "You guys bring up the defense being better. How much do we have to thank the fact that Eddie Jackson is gone and Marcus Williams is no longer playing the same number of snaps?"
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, that's a big part of it. I mean, you basically somebody made a statement. I don't know if it was like Dan Orlovsky or maybe it was Ryan on ESPN, Ryan Clark. Somebody made a comment about like, you know, you might as well just have 10 guys out there. You know what I mean? Because that's basically what was happening with some of the safety play, like the miscommunication, like the communicate. Sorry, Reed. I hope is that a low blow? I didn't mean it to be a low blow, but yeah, I see you laughing. But my point is though, is that when you miscommunicate, not only are you out of position, you end up taking other people out of position. You don't have 10 guys, you have like 9 guys out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because when you're talking, 2 guys are out of position now. Their mistake became your mistake because you're trying to help them or you're trying to communicate with them, and now both of you were wrong. What I
Mhm.
love is that it's very clear that they went back to the drawing board and said, you know what, we're just going to keep stuff simple. Remember how much moving around and disguising they were doing earlier in the season? And I was
Yeah.
like, they're dropping to places they can't even get to because they're trying to look like they're going to blitz. And it's just too much ground to cover. And when you're playing zone, you got to do a couple things. You can't just drop to an empty space because if the space is empty, that means that there's a bunch of guys on the other side of the field or somewhere else, and they're crowding a zone. So ultimately, at some point, zone's got to become man. You got to plaster, and you just won't cover grass. You got to cover people. And I think that the addition of disguising and then trying to play zone and make it look like zone blitz and doing all these different things, it just had everybody discombobulated. And then on top of it, you had some
Mhm.
guys just playing bad ball, just playing
Yep.
really
Yeah.
poorly. And it
Yep.
led
Yeah.
to some disastrous stuff. But I think that I'm going to pray.
That's an interesting point. I like that. That makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense to me about what was going on at the beginning of the year. It
Yeah.
did seem like there was a lot of confusion, and
Just too
that
much
happened.
disguising.
That happened in the beginning of of our previous coach. There was confusion when he first started, and then they figured it out, but we
Yeah.
never quite figured it out. So he probably just maybe partly with Dean coming in, right? That's what it is simplify it a little bit more and not making it so
I
so
think that Zach,
just
I think Zach is being really smart about the way he's using players now. Like, do you notice that oh man, what's my man's name? Wiggins. Wiggins had a
Nate
clean
Wiggins. Yeah,
shot.
the first.
Oh, Wiggins
Yeah,
had a clean
right.
shot. But it's almost like he's never blitzed before. I'm like,
Right. He
bro,
just ran right
you
past
gotta
him.
get
Yeah.
under balance, bro. What are you
Right.
doing? Like you just act like you ran like you're playing Pop Warner and these dudes are just gonna stand there like hit me, man. Like, no, it's Justin Herbert. That dude is an athlete. Like Justin Herbert. You ever seen Justin Herbert play basketball?
Yeah.
Dude is a
He's very
beast.
fluid. Very
Dude,
fluid.
he is a monster athlete. And he's like 6'5". You know what I mean? He made him miss like they were playing like
yeah,
flag
that
football
was
out on
not
the
good.
grass. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like you got to break, you got to come to balance. And the thing is that Justin didn't even see Nate until Nate was like this far away from him. But he was so out of control. But the point I'm trying to make is that I like that Zach is kind of like it's not just Kyle, right? It was Marlon, it was Malik, it was Kyle, it was Nate. Like those guys coming on third and long, like it's not predictable now. It looks like zone and they're sitting there and they're doing a really good job of just keeping it simple and not using it all the time, but kind of using it when they kind of like say, okay, this we got to get this one. And so
Mhm.
and Kyle Van Noy looked great tonight. And Adafe Owe, let me tell you right now, something's clicked for him. Like he gets a lot more pressure. And I know the statistics, you see him on that leaderboard, but damn, like to watch him play, he's man, he's really
Yeah.
figured it out for me. Like he's got some nice moves right now. I don't know what happened to our boy though, from
Which
Michigan.
one?
Ojabo?
Ajabo, yeah, I don't know
Oh
what
yeah,
happened to him.
he's
Like
yeah,
I
not
haven't seen
even
him in
not
weeks.
involved. Yep, not involved.
No.
He in the doghouse. What they call it? The John
And,
Harbaugh.
and also he was inactive a couple times as well.
Yeah,
So I
yep,
mean,
Healthy scratch.
yep.
yep,
Even
Yeah.
even
he's been
after
healthy scratches.
and we thought that after they let go of Ngakwe, it was going to be because they're going to be committed to Ajabo, like it's sink or swim time, and just hasn't been the case. All
Can
right,
I
Rita.
ask Rita, what was it like there? I'm sorry if I missed if you already explained this, but just was there a good amount of Ravens fans, I'm assuming?
Oh
And
yeah, oh yeah. It was absolutely full of Ravens fans everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere.
Sound
So
like
it
a
was,
home game.
it felt like a home game. So I mean, I was running into people left and right from home. I'm like, oh, hey. I mean, literally, like, felt like a home game. I felt like I was at home. So
Rita, you
one
travel. I
thing,
respect the hell out of that.
And
You
to be
travel,
fair,
bro.
as anyone knows who's
Love
ever
it.
been around Rita, that's what it's like being around Rita anywhere. You could be anywhere on the planet, and people are coming up to her. She knows everyone. It is
Yeah.
always the case whenever you hang out with Rita. And
Love
I'm
it.
not.
whatever,
It's a straight shoot. That's a 100.
whatever. But no,
Rita,
it's great. It was great to see, like, we travel very well. So I just think that part is cool.
warning,
Just keep
Rita.
bringing them away game victories home. Next
Yeah,
up,
no doubt.
Christmas.
No doubt. That's
Next up,
right.
Christmas, I'll be
Rita's
there. You're
Rita's going
right.
to see Beyonce. She's
Yeah,
going.
I'm going to go see
Going to see
Oh,
it.
Beyonce.
wow.
Hey,
Yeah.
Glenn, can we give our top five?
That's where I was
before
going.
you go to
I
bed?
was trying to give Rita the heads up. I'm coming to her first.
No, you
Make your
won't. Let me think about
All
it. Let me
right.
think
Make your
about
trip
it.
to the
Let
game
me think.
easy by saving the easy passway for tolls. Go to driveeasymd.com. That's driveeasymd.com. All right. I'll go ahead and give you my top five first then. Number five, the Green Bay Packers. I get the 49ers were depleted, but they still got the job done emphatically, so they hold the spot for Philadelphia. And what a game that shapes up to be. I know we have a lot of confidence in the Ravens against NFC teams, but the Eagles they look like a machine at the moment. I mean, they look as much as we thought Saquon Barkley could do in that offense, he's done exactly that. It's been unbelievable. I'll keep the Chiefs at 3, the Bills at 2, and the Lions at 1. That's my top 5. Where are we going next? You want to do Ken? Ken, you want up?
Sure. Green Bay is also my 5. Kansas City is 4. Buffalo is 3. The Eagles are 2, and the Detroit Lions are 1.
All right. Big bump for Philadelphia. Femi.
Oh wow, I thought I was going last, bro.
All right, yo, because it's your segment. That's fine.
I'll go.
Go ahead,
All right,
Rita.
I go. I'm also doing number 5, Green Bay. Sorry. Number 4, I'm going. Oh, this is hard. Who am I going to wait? I had it in my head, y'all. Let me start from the top. Can I start from the top? I got to start from the top.
All right.
Sorry, I can't.
Femi's going to yell at you, though.
I know, Femi. I'm sorry. Today, my brain is not braining at the moment. So
I hope you had some drinks. I hope you were drinking, and that's the only reason you're.
I did earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I did. I had some drinks.
Okay, you get a pass.
I had it, but I had it and then I lost it. But let me try. I got Green Bay at 5. I got, damn. Am I with you, KZ? Because I got the Chiefs at 4. I have the Bills at 3, though. And then I have the Eagles at 2. And then I have Detroit as 1.
Same as KZ. Yeah.
That's solid.
I like KZ.
Same as KZ.
Solid.
Trippy, you can go next.
Well, I'm gonna go with KZ and Rita. I was trying to find a way to fit the Ravens in the top 5, but right now
It's all good. We play better when we're not in the top 5. This will be
right. So yeah, Green Bay 5, the Chiefs 4, definitely Buffalo 3, Eagles 2, and definitely the Lions 1. So yeah, that's the top 5 for right now.
Josh.
I'm gonna listen. I had my family up here this weekend. It was all about Taylor Swift. I didn't watch any of the games, so I don't feel qualified to make this top 5 pick. Not having seen anything this weekend. I'm gonna respectfully decline.
We famously know, obviously, that you and Taylor are good friends, obviously, from the Fortnite video. We're aware of that. I think some people are saying you made her career. I believe it's what some people are saying. Did you
carried away, bro?
You got to go?
Who is it?
Huh?
Is it
you got to go though? You like to go see Taylor?
Yeah, we finally got to see her. They took the kids Saturday night. It was the last show up here in Toronto, and then she's finishing the tour in Vancouver in about a few days, and that's the end of the Eras tour. So I was really glad I got to see it. It was incredible.
Cool.
The kids had an amazing
Very
time.
cool. Very cool.
Hey, Josh, awesome. if Josh, if you're not going to give us your top 5, can you just tell us who you think the best team in the NFL is right now?
Detroit.
Okay. See, you gave us a little something. See, let's keep it simple.
I'll go Griffin. Jump in.
My top ones aren't going to differ too much. I'm going to have the Ravens at number 5, though. I
There you
think
Okay,
go.
okay.
Homer
Thank
pick. Love
you.
it. Love
Thank
it.
you.
it is what it
Knew
is.
I liked
I
you,
think the
Griffin.
Ravens are a top 5 team. Yeah, then Kansas City 4, what everybody else said. Kansas City 4, Buffalo 3, Philly 2, Detroit number 1. And yeah, I mean that's why I don't have a problem with the 4th and 1 go for it call, because it's, who's the best team in the NFL right now? The Lions. The Lions are a team that's not going to hesitate, and they're going to go for that 4th and 1 every time.
Yep.
I think there's no reason the Ravens shouldn't be able to compete with them. So yeah, I'm with Femi on that. Dan Campbell's going for it. There's no reason the Ravens shouldn't be able to
Less
convert
than
that
one.
4th and 1 10 times out of 10 as well. So yeah.
All right,
All right.
Femi.
Y'all are tripping. You put the Packers at 5. The Packers lost to the Vikings. The Vikings are the number 5 team in the NFL. The Packers are not the number 5 team, by the way.
Damn, I forgot all about
The Vikings. Everyone's sleeping on the Vikings. The Vikings are 9-2.
I like
so-
Jordan Love more than I like Sam Darnold. It really is. as
That's
simple as that.
where I stand
It's
too,
really
Glenn.
as
When they
simple as
played,
that.
when they
That's
played
my
head to,
thing.
when they played
I know.
head to head, who
I
won the
know.
game?
I just think Sam Darnold has come back to earth. I think that
They're 9-2, bro.
I know.
When they
but
played head to head, who won the
but
game?
I know. All
So
this
when it goes like when we talk,
Wait,
when it
hang
comes
on.
down to the
Hang on.
actual game being played, we don't give people credit for beating
Well, hang
somebody.
on. Let me hear your list.
Okay. Number 5 is Minnesota. And this is true real quick before I give my list. I agree with Griffin. The Ravens are a top 5 team, but I can't put them in the top 5 based on what I've seen recently, because this is who the top 5 is right now. But if I had to like go more macro, they'd be in my top 5, but they're not my top 5 right now. If they beat the Eagles, they'll be back in the top 5. So Minnesota's going to be at 4. I'm going to put I'm sorry.
Minnesota
Minnesota's
5.
at 5. I'm going to put the Eagles at 4. I'm gonna go Chiefs 3, Buffalo 2, Detroit 1.
Wait, you had Buffalo over the Ravens? What happened when they played each other, Femi? What
No,
happened when I thought the result of the game mattered? I
Did
thought
you-
it was about
no,
who
that's
won
not,
the
that's
game.
just not funny. Did you just hear what I just said? Did you just hear what I just said? Did you just hear what I just said?
I did.
See, that's
I
why
did.
you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You know what I'm saying? Like I literally just said that the Ravens haven't played well enough. It's not about one game.
I love you. I just wanted to
No,
bust
keep
your
your love. I
balls.
don't want to bust you.
I love
I don't want to.
I love you.
My point is that if the Ravens can beat the Eagles here this week, they will be back in the top 5. And
I
Buffalo's
wholly
9-2.
agreed. Yes,
Buffalo's
wholly.
9-2. Buffalo beat the Chiefs.
Dude, I had him number 2. I'm with you.
Glenn, what's the early line on that game right now?
It was
Eagles,
2.5 when
I mean Eagles Ravens.
I looked when I saw it earlier.
Ravens
it was 2.5.
-2.
Yeah, it was at 2.5. Let me double check on that right now and see if there's a new number on that. While I do that, I'll remind everybody that Project Game Day has been made possible by 1-800-GAMBLER. No cost treatment now available for anyone wanting help with a gambling problem. And the number is it's not on the board for some
Yeah,
reason.
you're right.
Why
It's
is
on the
Looks like
board.
they took it down.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. Why is that not on the board?
that's interesting.
Is there an injury that I guess could Devontae Smith return? Or are they waiting on that?
But that would only change it.
This morning the Ravens were 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I saw that. That's weird that it's not on the board.
Did somebody else get hurt in that game last night?
Yeah, I don't.
Their defensive player got hurt.
Yeah, Brandon Graham, yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
he's a
All right.
pretty
Yeah,
good
that's
player.
significant.
out for the year.
He's out. Okay. All right. But he's done. He's out for the year.
Yes, Brandon.
Okay,
Graham.
then that wouldn't be why it's not on the board because they have the answer. He's not playing.
Maybe they just trying to, you know how the sports betting the books is. They trying to switch up the lines. A lot of people probably took the Ravens -2 early, so now they trying to switch the odds up. You know how the books is.
Yeah, I get it. I just don't know why right now. That's weird. That's weird. All right, whatever. Who cares? Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. First of all, let's say that.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Reeta and I will be on the fan both Thursday and Friday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. So if you're celebrating the holiday, hang with us. Doing some early drinking on Thanksgiving while you're frying a turkey.
I'm working, man. I'm gonna be working here in Canada, but
yeah, it's right. It's Canada. I'm like,
They
you're
don't
working.
care
You know
about
what that
Thanksgiving.
sound like? You heard what Glenn said. Y'all gonna be doing a lot of drinking. I guess what you bringing in a special drink? Thursday
No,
and
no, I'm
Friday?
not. I can't drink. I can't drink on the show, but the rest of you can be buzzing in while you're buzzed. Do some buzzing for
I
us.
ain't gonna
on,
lie. It's too early. It's gonna be too early to be drinking when y'all be in the studio.
I don't know.
so.
Thanksgiving's good for a shower beer in the morning. All right. Love y'all. We will be back together Sunday following Ravens, Eagles. Have a great Thanksgiving week. We'll talk to you then. This has
Everybody,
been
happy
Press Box.
Thanksgiving.
Thanks,
Happy
Charles. Good to
Thanksgiving.
see you, buddy.
Thanks,
Happy
guys.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Safe